Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for stopping by. Today's video is gonna be a wrap up of all of my favorite beauty products from 2019. I say beauty products, but I should say makeup, because I also wanna do a beauty/lifestyle favorites video where I'm covering all like my favorite skincare, SPF, hair care, and then just general lifestyle products, whether it's things around the house, things I've been eating. To be honest, I'm a little bit more excited about that video than the makeup, although all the products here I absolutely love and adore. I tried my best to really narrow it down to the cream of the crop, the best of the best, but obviously in some categories there are gonna be multiple options just because obviously I have a foundation that's best for full coverage days and then a product that I prefer more on a minimal, like no makeup type of look. Also, I'm really excited for this video because I'm going to be giving away all the products that I mentioned from Colourpop, as well as a $100 gift card to their site. So definitely be sure to check out the rules down below. Now, go get yourself a drink, a snack. This video is gonna be a doozy. First up is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. They recently launched this in a luminous formula as well as matte. I'm really interested in trying out the luminous one. This primer will only cost you $8. It'll last you forever. I have been going hard with this since either September or October. You really only need a little bit. Also, I guess that kind of depends on what kind of skin that you have. I really only use this right here on the sides of my nose, on my forehead, and then a little bit on my chin, just anywhere that I have enlarged pores. What I really like about this is that it doesn't have your typical smoothing primer texture. Sometimes with those primers, the dimethicone makes it feel very like thick and heavy on your skin to where it just sits right on top of your face and your foundation kind of like slips and slides all over it. This, whenever you put your finger in, it has such a thin, lightweight, and even moisturizing feeling, but it still goes in and really blurs out those pores. If you haven't tried this out yet and you have areas with really big pores that you have a hard time just kind of smoothing out, definitely give this one a go. For under $10, you really can't beat it. I absolutely love it. The other primer isn't really technically a primer. What do they even call this? It's a natural glow enhancer. So you can use this as a liquid illuminator. You can use it as a foundation mix-in. You can use it as your primer. I use it for all three. This is just the True Match Lumi Glotion from L'Oreal. Light Glow and then Deep Glow is my favorite whenever I have a self-tan. If you're a fan of the Laura Mercier Radiance Bronze Primer, that was in a monthly favorites as well. I still absolutely love that product. But if you're wanting to save a few of your pennies, or actually a lot of your pennies in dollar bills, because the price difference is pretty large, you could always go in with the deep bronze one instead. That just creates a really nice, slightly bronze, like tinted base. And whenever you mix it in with your foundation or use it as I mentioned earlier, a primer, you really get this beautiful, like kind of bronzy glow from within type of look, especially on days where I self-tan. I never self-tan my face, so that just kind of brings everything together from my neck, my chest, and my face. That way I don't have like a Casper face and then a tan chest, because that's not a good look. But this is a budget-friendly option. I absolutely love it, and it's great because it's a multi-purpose product. And then the third product is definitely much more expensive. I've tried duping this out. As much as I love the glow of the Lumi Glotion, nothing quite compares to this. I still love the L'Oreal one. I get a ton of use out of it. Something about this Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, it's just absolutely beautiful. I have mine in shade 2 light. I definitely want to purchase a deeper shade just for more of a bronzy look in the spring and summer months. I don't know what it is about this. Even on days where I don't wear any makeup, I can just go in and apply this onto my skin. And the glow that it gives, I just feel like it distracts from any other imperfections that I have on my face. Sometimes I'll even use this on my under eyes and just blend it in with my concealer. And it just adds a lot of luminosity to that area. The texture of it is so nice. It doesn't feel like your typical liquid highlighter. It has somewhat of like a, not thick, but a slightly like gelish, balmy texture to it, but very, very minimal. It's just something you have to go in store and feel. I use it so much, and I feel like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just because the component is glass and it's really heavy, but it seems like I still have a long way to go in there. Now moving on to foundations, I realize this is absolutely ridiculous, but it was too hard for me to break it down to one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and link a video above that I did recently talking about my favorite foundations from the drugstore. There's 3 different ones in there. I love all 3 for different reasons, but if you are someone who loves a dewy, natural type of foundation, or one of them was still even kind of like a natural matte foundation, but something that isn't heavy or cakey on the skin, but just lasts all day long, All three of those I absolutely love. I'm not gonna give spoilers, just go ahead and check out the video. But one high-end foundation that I've been in love with for years now, this is the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation. This one actually needs to go in the trash. My newer one I've already packed up because I did a separate video, which not even a video, IGTV about the makeup that I'm packing on my cruise. So it's in there. This one, it needs to be tossed because it started to separate now. I've opened a new bottle since because once I got to the bottom, it kind of started to do this whole gross thing. It's another foundation that feels very nice and lightweight on the skin, gives a buildable full coverage. I would say it starts at like a natural medium coverage. It's just beautiful. Whether you have dry skin or oily skin, it is such an amazing foundation. I will forever love that one, as well as the NARS Sheer Glow. Moving on to concealer. Surprisingly, I just have one. I have two shades here though. This is the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I swear this is a never-ending concealer. You get so much product in here, a little bit goes a long way. Okay, here's the thing. On the bottom it says super coverage, but don't let that name scare you. It cancels everything out that needs to be canceled out, but it still allows like freckles and just natural things in your face to peek through, which I really like. I feel like if every single freckle is concealed, then it just looks too cakey. Now, don't get me wrong, I could go in and apply a layer, let that dry, and go in with a second layer, and it would cover my freckles. But if you're looking for something with full coverage, but that you can really control, this is the foundation. If you are on like a Tarte Shape Tape binge and you've never tried this one yet, just try this once. I made the switch so quickly. As much as I loved Tarte Shape Tape, I felt like it started to get too drying on my under eyes. I can't rave about it enough. It's amazing. As much as I love trying out new products, even when new concealers come out, I pretty much always go back to this one. For instance, the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, I do still love that, but I always end up missing this one, even when I use that. Okay, for setting powders, I have two. I know, but as much as I love the Too Faced Born This Way setting or Ethereal setting powder, this is just such a beautiful powder. Even if you have drier under eyes, if you go in with a damp beauty sponge, it just melts right in almost. It's not a cream to powder or powder to cream, but it really like presses into the skin that way. There's so many other setting powders that I feel like look dry on my under eyes. This one just melts right in, but I think I just kind of started to get bored of it just because I use this like pretty much all year long. And then just within, I would say the last 3 to 4 months, I haven't been able to put down the Huda Beauty baking powder in Pound Cake. I love this one. I love that it has this mesh netting in it. It's just such a finely milled powder. Just melts right into the skin. I can use it all over my face without feeling like cakey or dry. Both of those I love. It was too hard for me to cut it down to one. However, for pressed powders and a great drugstore option, this is the JCAT Beauty Aquasurance Compact Foundation. I typically don't go for pressed powders. I know that I read that it's supposed to be like infused with water and some other things, but it's a powder that truly does feel hydrating on your skin. It feels completely weightless. I feel like I could go in with like layer after layer after layer. I don't, but it still wouldn't be one of those powders where if you used to wear like powder foundations back in the day, did you ever notice like even before I had smile lines, it felt like when I smiled, I could like feel the powder moving. This just feels completely weightless. And that's a big thing for me when it comes to just skin products. If anything feels too heavy on the skin, I end up just wanting to like scratch it off or just like wash my face immediately. I can't handle the feeling of being able to feel makeup on my face. Now, moving on to bronzers. I have a powder bronzer and then a cream liquid cushion bronzer. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Contour in the shade Cafe au Soleil. I think this is such an underrated product. I feel like I have talked about this product so many times in videos, but it is like hands down my favorite liquid bronzer ever. As much as I love the Huda Beauty Tantour, my MAC Quick Sticks, this just blends into the skin beautifully. It's almost like it just melts right in. You can really deepen it up or you can keep it really, really soft. I believe there's 2 shades that come in this line. So it just comes in this compact. The only downside is I have a hard time finding this in store. Whenever I first purchased it, I got it at Walgreens and I think it was because like the Mega Cushion line had just launched. Every now and then I can still find it at Target. So in here you just get a cushion, but this cushion holds so much. If you ever use cushion products and you notice that it's starting to dry down, just go in with clean tweezers and give it a flip. Something about the tone of this bronzer is just absolutely beautiful. You can really build it up or you can keep it really, really sheer. But as you blend it into the skin, it just almost looks like a natural shadow. It's not overly orange, it's not overly red. I just find it to be the perfect color for my skin tone. I think it either retails for $4.99 or $5.99, but it is hands down my favorite liquid bronzer ever. The other bronzer I have is also incredibly affordable. This came from the Going Coconuts Colourpop line. They have two different bronzers in that collection. This one is Coconut Beach. Now, the only downside to this bronzer is it is incredibly soft. So as you can see, every time I dip my brush in it, it does make a mess. But I deal with it because I just love the tone of this bronzer. It's another one that just like blends beautifully right into the skin. It's not overly cool, it's not overly warm. It's definitely more warm than cool, but it's still not one of those like super red tone bronzers. It is a bronzer that I have on today. I just went in with a really light layer. I was kind of going more with blush today, but I like to go in with a really loose bronzer brush like this. So I always try to kind of pick up the powder that I kicked up first. And I just, well, I mean, obviously you guys know how to apply bronzer, but I just love the tone of this bronzer, and it's something that I can really go in with heavy-handed, but it just blends out seamlessly. Now, if something happened to my makeup collection and I lost all my bronzers, don't get me wrong, I'd be really sad, but this would easily be the first bronzer that I'd go out and repurchase. It's just such a great formula. Now, for blushes, I had a harder time because this is like me beating a dead horse. The L'Oreal Blush and Brighten Baked blushes will forever be my favorite blush. I reach for those constantly. I absolutely love them. But besides those, the NARS Exposed blush palette really blew me away. I have so many of the NARS blush palettes, and this is easily my favorite one. If I could change one thing, it probably would be this blush here, but that's all personal preference. I'm just someone who prefers more of these kind of like coral, bronzy, or like more of like a pinky mauve type of hue. My absolute favorite blush in here is this top center one. It is just beautiful. Anything peachy like this is stunning. I feel like on my finger it looks more matte, but whenever I apply it to my cheek, I do get a slight glow to it. I always like to top it with the highlighter right here. I'm actually wearing just a little bit of this blush, and then I've been using this eyeshadow palette as a blush palette as well. So this is one of the two palettes that I use the most this year. I think I use this one more than the next one I'm about to show you though. This is the Colourpop Sweet Talk Pressed Powder Palette. Now, I realize when you look at it, it just looks like another typical warm toned palette, but honestly, it's more of a pinky coral palette. If I'm looking for a palette that just makes me feel pretty and girly, this is it. This is actually a second or a repurchase because the first one I had used Work It so much that I hit pan and then I dropped it and then the whole thing shattered. I had to buy a new one because this is the palette that I love to travel with. But Work It is definitely the shade that I get the most use out of. I have Work It in my crease as well as Meadow. Now, I know a lot of people have very strong feelings about the pressed glitters in these palettes because glitters are not eye safe, so definitely use them at your own discretion. But one thing that kind of kills me, now I'm not saying this in a hateful way because I absolutely adore the Tati Beauty palette, but why do so many people give like Colourpop a hard time about these, but then everyone was like, oh my God, a whole row of glitters. I mean, I was definitely one of those people because I love glitters. I realize no glitter, whether it's cosmetic grade or not, is safe for your eyes, but I was just always kind of confused about that, like why was one okay and one not? So definitely use it at your own risk. I love them. I've never had a problem with them. I do still like to go in with a little bit of glitter glue just to really kind of keep it in one area, but yeah, this is hands down my favorite palette Colourpop has ever released. I just love it so much. So on my cheeks, I'm using that NARS blush that I showed you, and then I always like to go in and dip my brush into Meadow and Dreammaker. I just go in back and forth with those, and that's the majority of the kind of like peachy coral blush that you're seeing going on my face. So yeah, I love it just because it's a multi-use palette. So good. The other palette that I got the most use out of this year is the ABH Soft Glam palette. I was actually really late on getting this palette. So many people raved about it, but I just felt like when I looked at it in pictures, I'm like, oh, it looks like a million other palettes that I have. But a lot of these shadows translate differently than the way that they look in the pan. For instance, Rustic, I feel like looks so much darker on my eye than it does in the pan. So obviously towards the end of the year, I went crazy for the Tati Beauty palette as well as the Kylie Cosmetics. This one totally caught me by surprise, but Dear Santa, I freaking love that palette. Okay, moving on. Oh, actually I have a few other eye products that I wanted to mention. Laura Mercier Caviar Cream Sticks, or just Caviar Stick eye colors. In Cocoa, if you're just looking for a one and done type of cream shadow, Shelby Wilson is a great person to watch for these. She's done like a million tutorials using this. I love it not only for a cream eyeshadow, but for my actual waterline and tight line. These last on my eyes longer than any other product that I have. They are so incredibly creamy. It's just such a beautiful, rich brown. And then I love Tuxedo to tight line, especially on days like today where I'm wearing lashes and just a tiny bit of liner and I'm really just wanting to seal everything and melt everything together. Both of these go with me everywhere. Anytime that I'm traveling, as long as I have these, I know I'm good to go because you can honestly do so much with them. Use them as eyeliner, use them as like your cream eyeshadow, use them as an eyeshadow base. They're just amazing products and there's so many different colors to pick from. Now, if you know anything about me, then you should know I have to mention some sort of glitter eye top coat. I just live for those. Whenever the Stila Glitter and Glows first came out, I was absolutely obsessed. But this year, the Betty Betta Sugar Twinkle Eye Glitters, what are they called? Just Sugar Twinkle. They're just glitter eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows. I love these. I have so many K-Beauty products I absolutely love. I still want to do like a roundup of my all-time favorite K-Beauty products, but these are an affordable dupe to the Stila ones. There's so many beautiful shades, some of my favorites. We have number 4. I just did a tutorial using this one. And then I think it's number 3. That's pretty much a dupe for Kitten. They're just so beautiful. I actually like the applicators of these more than the Stila ones because they have that little bit of a slant, so it's really easy just to get right onto the inner corners of your eyes. Yeah, this is the one that's the dupe for Kitten Karma. I purchased mine from Yes Style, but I'll go ahead and list a few other places that you can purchase them down below. Go ahead and talk about mascara in this section too. Okay, I have 2 favorite mascaras. As much as I love the Lancome Monsieur Big mascara this year, the Essence Lash Princess in Waterproof blew every other mascara out of the water. The best thing is the price point. I'm pretty sure it's like $3.99. This is a mascara. I've talked about this before. If you are someone with very like straight and stubborn lashes, you know for us, you need waterproof to really hold the curl. And then you have to have that perfect formula where it's not too wet because then it'll hold your lashes down, and it's not too dry either because then it doesn't really do anything. This is a mascara that's at the sweet spot from the beginning to the end. You know, with some mascaras, you have to wait like a week and a half, and then it finally like thickens up and gets just right. This is right, like freaking Goldilocks perfect from the beginning. Not too cold, not too warm, not too hot. It's just perfect. And you really can't beat the price point. The other product, this is another one from Colourpop. I'm embarrassed to even show you mine. It looks really dirty. Okay, this is the mascara that I use for my lower lashes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with my straight and stubborn lashes, I have to use waterproof on my upper lashes, but I've realized on my lower lashes, I really like to go in with a rich brown rather than just a typical black mascara. This one in Brownie Points, this is just their BFF Volumizing Mascara. I do wish that they came out with one with a smaller brush, just since I'm the psycho that only uses it on my lower lashes. But this is such an amazing mascara for my lower lashes. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't smudge. I have very watery eyes and I don't have any issues with it like smudging all over the place. I don't think it claims to be waterproof. I have tried it on my upper lashes and it didn't hold the curl for me. But for your lower lashes, this is such an amazing mascara. I know people who have great lashes love it for both their upper and lower lashes, but for me, just want to let you know, definitely just a lower lash person. Okay, eyebrows. My absolute favorite brow pencil. This will be the only brow pencil that I purchase from now on. This is another K-Beauty product. It's from the brand Etude House. This is just their Drawing Eyebrow Slim 1.5 millimeter eyebrow pencil. I use mine in soft black. It's a pencil that I'm using today. I have no issues with it smudging. There is no need for me to ever purchase a high-end brow pencil because this does everything and more. I use mine in soft black. Now, to set my brows in place, originally, I thought this was discontinued. I know it was for a while, but now it's back on Amazon for $5 something. Thank you to, I believe it was Ashley on Instagram who gave me the heads up about this, but the Maybelline Brow Precise Fiber Volumizer, This is another product that I will use until the day that I die. It just comes with kind of like a flat bill-shaped spoon type of spoolie, and there's actual fibers in there as well as a tinted base. If you are someone who likes feathery, fluffy brows and you want them to stay locked and loaded, this should be your go-to. But a newer brow product for me this year is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I've talked about this already in so many videos. It has more of like a serum liquidy consistency, but if you are just looking for a great clear brow gel that holds your brows in place, like if you're wanting those fluffy, pokey, stand-up type of brows, that one does the trick. For highlighters, this was hard for me just because I have a cream product and then I have two powder ones. For creams, this is the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter. I'm pretty sure this was in a yearly favorites before, but my absolute favorite one is in the shade Rose Gold. Don't let the name fool you. I'm not someone who likes like pinky rose highlighters typically either, but this one definitely goes on more like a traditional like golden champagne type of highlighter. I like to just go in either with my fingers or a sponge. It is so beautiful. So this one I love. Now for powder highlighters, I have two. If you're looking for an intense, just mega glow highlighter, the Persona Cosmetics highlighter in Zuma is absolutely stunning. This is another product that is very soft though. If you drop it, be careful, just give yourself or your powder a little prayer. But this one is just an amazing soft gold. There's, is it Del Mar? That one's more of like a bronzy tone, but Zuma is definitely my jam. Look at that, isn't it stunning? But if you're someone who likes more of a natural, everyday appropriate highlighter, I would go with this one from Clio. This is another K-Beauty brand. This is the Prism Air 01 Gold Sheer Highlighter. This is a product that just melts into your skin like butter. You can keep it very, very soft and sheer. You can amp it up, but it's still gonna stay on the softer side. Nothing like the Zuma one or one of the Becca ones. This is such a beautiful, airy highlighter. It's something that you have to try. I can't even fully describe it. It's almost like it has a transparent base, but still lets your skin have this incredible, just glowy, dewy sheen. I have been using this one like crazy. It's so beautiful. There's gold sheer, and then I believe it's either called ballerina or pink sheer, maybe just pink, I don't know. I'll list them both down below if you are interested. Okay, finally with lips. Starting off with lip liners, the Laura Mercier Longwear lip liners stole my heart this year, specifically the shade Plumberry. I also love Hazelnut. Wait, what are you called? Oh, this is Baby Lips. But then I think it's Hazelnut Tea. But out of all of them, the one that I recommend the most is Plumberry. This is just like the best your lip but better type of color. I sometimes use this as just like my only lip color. Sometimes I just use it as my lip liner. So this is the base that's on my lips right now. And then my lip gloss is wearing off. I forgot to reapply lipstick before starting this video. Okay, so let's do that now. For lipsticks, another K-Beauty brand. These are the 3CE matte lipsticks. I have never felt a formula like this before. If you guys have been watching all of my videos, then you already know I cannot get enough. So the very first one that I purchased is the shade 220 Hit Me Up. This is just an incredibly beautiful, like terracotta orange type of shade. I love this color so much. So these are matte, but the feeling of them is unlike anything else. It has, I always have the hardest time describing it. It doesn't have just like the typical melty glide of a lipstick. It has an interesting, stiffer, almost blurring gel-like formula, but it is so long wearing. It feels so good on the lips. It has somewhat of a balmy texture. You get a matte finish, but it doesn't in any way feel matte. There's no drying, there's no tugging. They glide on. I want every single shade. I love this formula so much. As much as I love the Huda Beauty, what are those called? Like the matte lip, bullet matte, something like that lipstick. I have to say, I have so many lipsticks, an insane amount, but these are hands down my favorite formula ever. It was so easy for me to pick lipsticks this year. Okay, moving on to glosses. I do have two different options. First up are the Colourpop So Juicy glosses. I actually forgot to bring my other shade in here, but All Talk and Roundabout are my absolute favorites. This is actually my second one just because I wanted to keep one just for my purse and then one for my vanity. So this one here is in the shade Roundabout. It just has this beautiful like sheer muted nude pinky tone. I love like the minty scent in it. Roundabout, Beechwood, All Talk, And then I think Audis are some of my favorite shades. They're just so good. And then finally, the very last lip gloss. I actually had a lot of drugstore products this year. I'm proud of myself. This is the L'Oreal Glowing Lip Gloss. I love this shade, See You Soon. And then other shade, it's called Tropic Like It's Hot. This is another favorite lip topper of mine. Don't let the shades throw you off because you can easily manipulate these with lip liners. One of my all-time favorite combos is to go in with Laura Mercier Plumberry and then Tropic Like It's Hot on top. The only thing is I don't really like the scent. It's kind of like a medicinal cherry scent, but the applicator is huge on these. They're just hydrating, glowy, glossy. I love them so much. I wish the scent would change, but I can overlook it just because the actual formula is so good and like pillowy on the lips. Whew. Woo doggy. There are all of my favorites from 2019. I would love to hear some of your yearly favorites down below as well. I hope 2020 is kicking off to a great start for y'all. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I would love if you joined the family. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell. That way you can be alerted for all of my future videos. And yeah, until next time, see ya.